wasn't conducive to Zoom calls then. So I, got the mic and like capture card on my camera, and it looks so much better.
Oh yeah, it looks really good. What kind of mic are you running?
Shure SM7.
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah, they're really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I like your little light too.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's a little like kicker light here.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. The bar has been raised. We're so Dr. Jamal, I'm Tyler. This is Mark. So it's great to meet you.
Please you have to call me Nekky. No one ever calls me doctor.
Okay. Nekky it is. I love it.
Yeah.
So we typically record in our studio, but obviously given the whole COVID situation, we've had to do it remotely today. So we were kind of bummed because we do have a pretty kick-ass studio. But
yeah, I've seen it. The other podcast. Man, fellas, thanks a lot for having me. I'm super pumped.
Well, thanks for being here, man. That's awesome. Yeah. Likewise.
Are you guys like right in Vancouver?
We're just about 40 minutes outside. We're both in Langley.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Have you
That's awesome.
These neck of the woods much?
Oh yeah, I teach in Burnaby. And
it bites, right?
It bites. Yeah, so I'm there all the time.
Oh, cool.
And I'm going to be there on next Friday.
Okay.
I'm excited to finally get out of. I went to Toronto a couple of weeks ago, but it's nice to start traveling again. That's for sure.
That's awesome.
No more cabin fever anymore, right?
Man, it's getting crazy because I don't know about you guys, but I can't sit still. I always need to be doing something. So this is really killing me.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Yeah, I've worked with Mark Juan for a couple of years now. So I used to work with his lab, Paul Rowe, gosh, 10 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've sort of spent the last 10 years on the distribution side. So
yeah,
I worked with, I was exclusively in the lab world. And then I sort of made the transition over to more clinical stuff in the last 7 or 8 years. So so I started working with Paul Rowe and Jay and those guys, sort of helping them with their sort of find new products for them and cool new stuff to make, back in the, oh man, when all on four was all the rage back then.
Yeah.
And then, they were doing some really cool stuff in there, with hybrids and fixed on top, basically overdentures and full mouth cases. So he's still blowing it up, doing great things.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I've learned a lot from him as well. It's been a good relationship, and I've been teaching there for, I think, 6 years now. So it's been cool.
That's awesome. You have to let us know, because let us know the next time you're in town. We'll come out and we'll get some footage of you.
Oh yeah, right. That'd be awesome, man. That's cool. So how'd you guys start up all this?
Ty, take it.
Oh man, it's interesting. I just pushed record on the start of this because I knew we'd jump right into a fun conversation with you. So for those that are joining us, obviously I'm Tyler from Dentist on Demand. This is Mark, and we're very lucky to have with us Dr. Nekky Jamal from, how do you say it? Is it Wayside Dental?
Yeah, Wayside Dental. Yeah.
You guys are
in Lloydminster.
The Lloydminster, Alberta. That's right. We're half Alberta, half Saskatchewan. Fun, man. It's a beautiful place, and I love it here. So it's home for me.
Well, it looks like you've spent some time in Saskatchewan and Alberta, so you can claim that you're kind of a border boy.
That's right. Yeah. I hope the Saskatchewan people, I feel like I've been adopted, but I was born and raised in Calgary, so best of both worlds there for sure.
Oh, so cool. I have a lot of family in, I've got family in Oyen. I'm not sure how far Oyen is. I think it's
pretty far.
It's like Acadia Valley, right? It's, I guess, sort of is it close to the border? I'm not even sure.
I remember driving through Owen quite a bit, when I used to drive from Calgary to Saskatoon, in school. Yeah. And so I remember always going through Owen. I don't think I spent much time there, but I remember seeing the sign.
Yeah, well, my dad was born in Lumsden, and they they had a small, I'm gonna say, I don't even know, it's maybe a couple of acres. I'm not sure how big it was, but they had a farm that they sort of started maybe 100 years ago. And it was just about 20 minutes outside of Bethune, sort of the Bethune-Wilcox area in Saskatchewan. And my dad left that farm. He became a veterinarian, so he went to Guelph to study vet school. And then he ended up coming out here, and he opened up he started working with the principal veterinarian at Kingcrest in Burnaby. And then he opened up an animal hospital in Aldergrove. So that was kind of how my dad broke away from the prairies. But
it's funny, hey, every European background folk in Canada started off in Saskatchewan on a farm, right?
And then they split off, right?
Yeah.
That's
how it works.
For sure. So to answer your question, Nekky, Dentist on Demand kind of started about 6 years ago. Like I said, I was on the distribution side. So my game plan was to really create a tool that was a great way to sort of promote my clients, keep them busy, keep them sort of top of mind in their community on the dentistry side of things. And it's really kind of evolved into this, because social media, that's really our sandbox. That's how we sort of get a lot of eyeballs to our clinicians, and obviously with the podcast, and we do a ton of content creation. Dentist on Demand has kind of evolved into this sort of lead generation / social media content company, and podcasts were a great way for us to sort of put the amazing dentists like yourself on here and really sort of, learn their story and learn more about what you guys do.
It's super cool, because I think you guys have created a cool community and a cool product that is so relevant to today's, series of events, I guess, that we're in right now. So that's good on you guys. I think that's awesome.
Well, we're excited to have somebody like you on. You've come from an amazing story.
Yeah, your story is really cool.
All the things that you're doing. It's awesome.
Thanks. I like to have fun.
So that's our segue. I think that, for us, I'm seeing a lot of these direct to consumer type, businesses pop up. And, obviously we always like to focus on the positives out there. And because we know so many great dentists, like we really like to keep the clinician front and center. You can only automate so much. And it really starts with what you guys do, whether it's the dentistry you perform, whether it's the courses you teach, whatever it is, like you guys have invested so much time and energy and passion into what it is you do, that for us, we really want to keep that front and center of the dental industry, and get away from, not get away, but like focus less on the automation and focus more on what it is you guys do and your passion. Because without you guys going to school for the decades that you do and learning and really having a passion for this profession, we don't have a show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's true.
No, it's all about passion. And I really feel like, man, dentists are unique because we work all day and then we're on social media all night learning. Like there's no stop to it. And I talk to my other physician friends, and they all think that we're crazy. We work all day and then we want to keep on learning and post cases and learn from each other at night. And it's amazing. Like you learn more on social media these days than you do in, reading journals or anything like that. So it's been awesome.
It's a cool community, isn't it? It's turned into and I think it's been kind of blown up by this whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
But we're like, how do we connect, right? And this is kind of the way it's turned into, and it's a kind of a beautiful thing.
It has. And so this is I call this a pandemic positive, because it's really connected a lot of us. And if anything, I really feel it's made dentists closer together, because we're all going through the same, hardships, and we're all going through the same difficulties, back a year ago, I guess it's been now, like, hey, where are you getting your N95s from? How do we do this? How do we do that? What am I going to do? Am I going to put my employees on EI? How do I tackle this? And we were all throwing ideas off each other. So it's really brought us closer together, I feel.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
Yeah, totally, man.
And it's pushed innovation too. Like in doing so, we've tried to figure out different ways to connect as well, and do all of these things and bring our team together.
Totally. And look at this right here. Like this would have never happened a year ago. Like I would never have the studio. I would never be teaching online. I would never have made those connections that I have. So I totally agree with you, man.
Yeah. You would have been, oh man, I need a cool light to go behind my, like we're thinking about different things. It's,
totally. Right.
Instead of putting yourself and feeling sorry for yourself, let's figure it out.
That's totally it. Let's find an opportunity amongst all this, because it's not going away anytime soon, right?
It's here.
Yeah, it's here. So I totally agree.
We're gonna have you on again in the future so that we can raise our game back to the studio and compete with your amazing set there.
Yeah, right. I don't have anything behind me. I could have put some cool bookshelves.
No.
It's
so simple. Like the way
good.
You set it up is fantastic.
The color, the oranges and the grays together. Yeah, no, you're nailing it.
Oh, thanks, man. Someone notices, right?
Yeah. Oh, trust it. Yeah.
I was in the film industry for 15 years, so we're always looking at people's sets and going, "Oh wow, that looks really amazing."
Yeah, totally, right? Yeah, no, that's awesome. Thanks.
So, Nekky, tell us your tell us your story, man. Like, how'd you get into dental? Like, tell us from the beginning. Where did it all start?
I got a lot of stories, and if you let me talk, I'll talk forever. So
perfect. This sounds like a series.
Well, I hope so. Yeah, right. I grew up in Calgary. I hate to say it, but I think the origins of why I wanted to become a dentist really started when my parents got divorced, unfortunately. And I was 13 years old, and I was living with my dad, and we had nothing, and we didn't always have a home to go to, and it was really like the start of hardship. And it taught me a lot about my dad, about what it's like to be a dad. I'm not a dad yet. I hope so one day, but it taught me a lot about what it is to be a man. And it taught me what I need to work for. And if I want to get out of this situation, I'm going to have to work for it. And I remember my dad, he said, Nekky, you need straight teeth, because you could, no joke, I used to be able to drive a truck between my two front teeth. I looked horrible. I looked like a rabbit. And I was pudgy, and dad said, you know what, we're going to get you straight teeth. And we had nothing. And yet he got me braces. And he provided not straight teeth, but he provided confidence. And that's how I knew I needed to become a dentist. I needed to be able to provide that service for another person that, may not have that opportunity to go to a dentist or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But then I went to my own dentist, and I was always a taller dude, like I'm 6'5". Oh, wow. And I thought my hands were too big to be a dentist. And so he put his hands up, and I was like, my hands were half the size of his. And I was like, oh, so I can become a dentist. And I got into dentistry, and I went to U of S because there's no dental school in Calgary. And one thing led to another, and became a dentist. And no joke, like I thank my lucky stars every day, because we are in the best profession out there. There's not a day that goes by. Of course, we all have our hard days, but you always look back and you're like, man, what choices did I make to get so lucky to get where I am today? And awesome. So I just feel a lot of gratitude and gratefulness to, be where I am right now, for sure.
That's very cool. And so you went to school, and when you came out, that's a great story, by the way, like just to attach it to like really sort of the genesis of it for you, and knowing your mindset at the start of the journey. Like, I always sort of had issues with not issues, but I always wanted a better smile as well. And I remember I was an actor back in 2006. Yeah. So that's nice. My background. I was in film and television for, like I came out of university in 99, and I was auditioning for film and television here in Vancouver, and I started picking up a few gigs. But every time I walked into that audition room or that casting room, I'd always be like, oh man, this one tooth here, it was like pointed off over in this direction. Right. So I smiled, but there was this one sort of, I had, my teeth were far from perfect. They were pretty gangly. And I, playing junior hockey and getting my skull smashed a few times on the ice was certainly a contributor to the teeth not looking so hot. So I remember in 2006 when I sort of saw the Tom Cruise interview, and he had these clear liners on, and I was like, wow, like, okay, that's pretty cool. I can actually use those. If you're an actor, you can pop those off and you can do your scene, and then you can pop them back in. So not nearly as interesting as your beginning, but I think that for me, it was that confidence that you speak of saying, you know what, my teeth are a lot straighter now. I feel better when I smile. There's some confidence now when I walk in the room. I don't feel like, smiling like this.
Totally. I couldn't agree more, man. Like the second I got my braces off, it was like I was a whole new person, right? Like you can't buy that confidence. Like it's in me. I honestly, I remember speaking to my dad last week. I'm like, do you remember when you got me braces? And like, it totally changed everything for me. And to him, I've never told him that before. You know what I mean? So it's kind of cool for him to hear that, I think. So yeah, it's, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Sorry guys. I'm a freak. I'm one of those freaks that never needed any braces or anything.
Oh, I hate you, man.
I'll just log off. Sorry.
Yeah.
I've done Invisalign twice. Boo. Yeah. So tell us, you came out of school, and then where did you go from there?
I didn't know what I wanted to do. I thought I loved prosto at the time. Like going through school, I'm like, man, it'd be super cool to like, rebuild people's smiles. And I wanted to go to prosto school. And then I'm like, no, I better work for a year. And then I, got a job in Lloydminster, and I haven't looked back since. But one thing did happen was I knew I needed, like, I remember all my friends telling me like, hey, I'm going to Mexico in the summer and I've never been there and I never, got to travel. And I'm like, I need an adventure. And so that's how I got into, like, I called Kindness in Action, a charity out of Edmonton. I'm like, man, take me on a dental brigade. I want to go to Guatemala and I want to share my skills and give back to my profession. And I know I'm just like, new dentist, but I have to be able to, give back somehow. This is just the start of my career. I need to learn and I want to help people. And so I went to Guatemala with one of my best friends today, Carl Martin. He's a dentist in Saskatoon. And it was wild. Like you're transported to a whole different world and these people line up to come see you. And it was almost like you've all heard these aha moments or the light bulb moments. And for me, that was it. That like I've been blessed with an education. I've been given a set of skills. How can I share this with the world? And what can I do to give back to help those that don't have the ability to, see a dentist or see someone that with that skill set. And that's what happened with me. And then one trip turned to 2, turned to 5, turned to 19 trips and I don't know how many different countries. And literally like a week before COVID, I was in India and then like the border shut down as soon as I got home. So it's been amazing. And it's really been that purpose that I've needed in my life to, give me direction on what I should be doing next. And it's been amazing.
I can hear it in your voice. Yeah.
Thanks.
It's amazing. Yeah.
I get super excited about it. And some people think I'm just such a huge dork because until you've been there and you've seen it and you've seen the power of what you can give. Yeah. Like that's what it's really all about. It's not focusing on self. It's focusing on what can I give you to change your day. And if you have that mindset going into every day, you don't feel like, a hamster on a wheel, like, oh, it's just another day of work or I have to do this, I have to do that. Of course, we all have errands and everything to do. But if you focus on, hey, what can I give you today to make you, to get you out of pain? What can I give you to, help you along your day today? Maybe it's, just smiling and hearing what you have to say. It's anything. Maybe it's just me buying you a coffee, but maybe it's me providing an entire community with water or getting a whole community out of pain. Like I think there's just so much power behind that. And I just feel so blessed that I have the ability to do that.
Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah.
So when you go to these communities, Nekky, is it so because underprivileged, you talk about a village being in pain, and then, you come back to Canada or you go to different areas around the world. Like it must be such an interesting experience going from an area where they're like, they don't have everything they need just to have the necessities for life. And then you come to Canada, like, does it kind of mess with your head a little bit coming back to Canada going like, we have an embarrassment of riches here?
That's a very insightful question. And not very many people ask that, but you're 100% correct. There would be weeks I would come home and I was mentally in a bad state. And I remember I'm like, man, why do I have an SUV? Why do I live in, a big house? Why do I have this? Why do I have that? What can I do? Like, are my skills being wasted in Canada? Because there's so many people to help our population here. Am I better served in communities that need my help? You know what I mean? And then you get into like, the whole materialism and it's a slippery slope downhill. It was definitely, I've had some tough times mentally trying to get through all that stuff. But then you have to think, what good am I if I don't keep a positive attitude and know that I can go back to these communities and help out? And there's a lot of people here that need our help as well. And it's just about like, what else can I do? And that's exactly how I got into the water project. Okay. And so instead of doing just dental, how can I help more? I don't know how to drill a water well, but I can fundraise for an entire community to be given the gift of life, which is water. Yeah. Like we need water. We all need water. And so it was super cool. That's the switch that I needed to be like, okay, that was my like next light bulb moment. How am I going to help when I'm not there? And it became into fundraising. And I really feel like I've been blessed with a voice that would allow me to talk to people, to the right people, and be like, you know what? I agree with you, Nekky. Let's drill a water well in this community and this community. And you partner with Rotary, and you partner with other companies, and you partner with other dentists. And just the numbers that you can get is just fantastic. It's been so cool.
That is amazing. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about that water project? Because we have an initiative coming up as well, and I'll share that with you, but I sort of want to hear what you're doing.
Sure. So, like I said, I'm a dentist. I don't know the first thing about water, except that I know everyone needs it.
Yeah, it's kind of important, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So to hear these stories of especially in northwestern Nicaragua, where they've been battling droughts for years, and Change for Children, which is a charity out of Edmonton that I'm their main dental leader. And they were telling me about their water projects, and I would come home and I'm like, man, how can I help? So that's how I got connected with Change for Children. And they partner with local organizations on the ground in Nicaragua, and they're drilling the water wells with local people. And they have water committees. So like, say there's a problem with the water well, they know who to contact. So it's a fully sustainable project, because the worst is when you go in a community, drill a water well and peace out, right? So you have to ensure the sustainability of the project. And that's why I love Change for Children so much, because they do that. And it's been a huge partnership with them over several years with many different organizations locally in Nicaragua to provide the water. So that's kind of how I got into it, is just, fundraising for it and basically sharing a message.
That's fantastic. And especially the sustainability component for it. I think you hit the nail on the head when it's like, well, yeah, we went there, we created a bunch of change, but is it happening when we're not there?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like you can't leave, because there's always going to be a problem. And I know a lot of people, they like to go down, drop some money, give themselves a pat on their back, and they felt like they've done their good. And you know what? That's awesome. And to each their own, and that's cool. But we need to ensure that money is being put to good use long-term, right? And so that's why I really like working with those partner organizations on the ground, because I'm up here, I can't do anything down there, right? So yeah, tell me about your water project. Now you got me interested.
Mark, do you want me to talk about it, or do you
go for it. Yeah.
Okay. So we have there's a couple of us running this company, Mark and I, and then we do have a couple other friends of ours that work with us on Dentist on Demand. Obviously, it's not just Mark and I, but we're the face of the company. So we have at our disposal a bunch of Seabins. So the Seabins is a company out of Australia. And what these are these huge garbage receptacles that you can put in the ocean. So we have purchased a number of these. I think we have 10. I think we're going to have 12 in total. And so what we're going to do with these, we're partnering with a company called Swim Drink Fish, which you may have heard of in your endeavors. So Swim Drink Fish they're similar to Ocean Wise, they're just a lot bigger. And Swim Drink Fish, UBC, the Peter Wall Foundation. There's a number of companies coming together to launch these Seabins around the greater Vancouver area. So Dentist on Demand is going to be providing the Seabins, and then we're going to be working with local contractors to get these Seabins in the water around Vancouver. Obviously, the goal is to clean up the waters around Vancouver. It's just like a garbage receptacle that sits maybe at the end of a dock, or it can sit maybe 30 feet out, and at a beach. And the idea is to collect as much garbage, ocean debris. The foam that comes off of the docks is a major problem. And really sort of trying to get as much plastic out of the water, the surrounding areas, because as we know, like most of the coastal lines around the world are where we're seeing the majority of the garbage, and then it floats out to sea and it goes to the greater, the huge garbage patch out in the Pacific or wherever. But once we put these 10 Seabins, or hopefully 12, in the water, it's going to be an ongoing initiative to make sure that we're doing our part to clean up the ocean waters around Vancouver. They launched, I believe, I'm not sure how many they did in the Great Lakes in the Ontario area, but they had a very successful campaign out there to clean up the water in the Great Lakes and a lot of the debris and whatnot. And it's a really good, again, we talk about sustainability. It's a great program where you can partner with the city or the province to say, hey, we're going to put the Seabins out there. Now let's just make sure that somebody from the city is, clean, replacing the garbage bags and making sure that everything is emptied out of them, so that it doesn't sit for too long. So that's our initiative.
But ultimately, being being in a position where to give back. I think, you know, like I think if you are, you should.
Totally. And I couldn't agree more. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you can do your own thing. You don't have to go on a dental brigade. You don't have to drill a water well. You don't have to provide Seabins. You can find your own unique ability to do whatever in your own backyard. You don't have to travel to change someone's day, change someone's tomorrow, or change someone's forever. Like we all have that unique ability in us to create that change now. And so I love it, man. We're all doing what we can to make a difference. And so that's all that matters.
It's awesome. Have you seen Seabins yet? Just on a side note.
I've had it queued up in my Netflix. Honestly, I started watching The Serpent, and that was freaking me out because I do some dumb things when I travel, and
I gotta watch that one. Yeah. We watched it last weekend because one of our partners was like, "Hey, watch that. It relates to what we're doing with Seabins." But you know, I think what's my takeaway from watching Seabins, first of all, watch it. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It made me never want to eat fish again, which is it's kind of a bummer because you walk away from it going, okay, I guess we're never eating fish again.
No more sushi.
No more sushi.
In Vancouver?
Oh, I know.
Yeah. The sushi in Vancouver is to die for. But one of the things I said to Amir, who's one of our partners, I said, you know, man, now we need a Seabin that can fit fishing nets into it, because the show starts with talking about the problems that fishing nets are causing.
Yeah.
And what a man-made catastrophe it really is. But yeah, man, oh man, that Seaspiracy, it's a wake-up call. The reason I mention it is because it talks a lot about people saying they're doing stuff to clean the oceans and doing stuff to give back. And like they started chasing the money and realizing no one's really doing anything.
Yeah.
So for us, hey, we've got these physical Seabins that we are putting in the ocean to make sure that, hey, this is something that we're proud of, that we are doing. You know, we don't need international attention on this. This is just something we're taking the proceeds from Dentist on Demand, and this is what we're doing. And like you say, we can stand behind it and be proud.
Absolutely. No, good for you guys, man. That's awesome. Yeah. Good for you.
Thank you.
That's wicked.
So after this whole COVID thing passes over, what's next? Are you back on the airplane going somewhere? What's the plan?
I cannot wait. Yeah, no, it would be really cool. The thing about COVID is I've been getting more calls than ever. They're like, hey, as soon as COVID, relaxes a bit, when's the next dental brigade? How can I help? How can I do this? Because so many people realize, it's not just at home. We need to share our skills. And so I can't wait for the next dental brigade. I want to go right back to Guatemala. That's my favorite place to go. And it's just awesome. So yeah, I'll be heading down there. We're actually supposed to go to Ecuador this year. And we got invited to go to the Galapagos and do dental work down there. And that's a super unique opportunity, but unfortunately, I don't know what's going on. But
nobody does really, right? Yeah. Nobody knows.
I just got my COVID shot yesterday. And so hopefully in Alberta, we've been much slower than everyone else in BC, especially with who gets it and when. So once the world gets immunized, I guess, then that's when the borders will open back up and we can start traveling again.
We'll see. An essential service, right? Like, isn't it mandated that all dentists should have their shot?
I don't know if it's mandated per se. I think you'll always have a choice, but in Alberta, we were considered phase 2C, and it just opened up on Monday. So I was, scrambling, trying to make appointments for some of my staff. And then it's just all over around our area that they've been getting appointments. So most of them will get it this weekend and this weekend. So I'm really grateful for that.
That's good. Cool. Then we'll be getting our booster shots for the variants that pass through every year, right?
I've never understood that. It is a virus and it will mutate. And so, we'll always be getting booster shots, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be stamped in our passports that we've received such.
I've got the C29497.
Totally. But not the 98. So now you can't come in the country.
Okay. I'm going home.
You're banned. When you go on these trips, just out of curiosity, what do you take?
Oh man, that's a great question.
Pack a bag? Yeah.
Oh yeah. So we actually carry, so during the 3 months prior, we pack bins. And so the big Rubbermaid totes, and they all have to be under 50 pounds. Otherwise, the airlines charge you like crazy. Right. So we pack everything we can in bins. So anesthetic, we bring everything from our clinics. And so anesthetic, extraction tools, filling material, gauze, gloves, masks, etc. And then what we do down there is we don't have power. Well, we'll have power, but we don't have. It's just not very, available. I guess I could say. So
it's
we
not
bring
set up like a dental clinic.
Yeah. So we bring. Hopefully, if there is power, like we bring compressors with us that we can run dental drills. Like we have dental units that we use. Unfortunately, we don't have X-rays down there.
I was gonna say, do you have radiography?
No, because like we're going pretty remote.
Yeah.
And so we try to work out of like schools or buildings or anything like that, and we actually tell them we're coming the day before, and they always have tables set out, and we put shower curtains that we buy at Dollarama or whatever, and we take them down there, put shower curtains on the table so that we can, it's a surface that we can wipe down. And then this is the gross part. We don't have suction, of course, because we're not we're in the middle of nowhere, right? So we have garbage bags taped to the table. And I don't know how COVID friendly this is anymore. We're gonna have to come up with a new strategy. But, and then we just throw everything in the garbage bag right beside you. People spit in there, and it's very primitive. It's very basic, but we're getting people out of pain, and we're getting rid of oral infections that have manifested in some cases for years. And if you've ever had a toothache, exactly the type of need that there is. And some of these people just don't have that availability to go to a dentist and get that help that we can provide. So that's pretty.
You must be, they must hoist you up in the air as you're leaving, as revered as a god, right?
No, that's exactly what we don't want. Because we don't do it for that, right?
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
If you can, I think the coolest feeling is being able to help someone without expecting anything in return, or
for sure,
like not having to ask for payment or anything. It's just a purely like, what, I'm going to help you and we're good.
I'm sure they're absolutely grateful.
Totally. And it's the stories you get though. Like I remember on my first trip, one of the ladies, I took out her tooth and she gave me a old bottle of 7-Up. Like in a plastic container, and I was like, what am I gonna, like, I don't want this. And she's like, oh, it's alcohol. And I was like, oh okay, like sure, yeah. And
maybe
then
I do want that.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know if it was truth or not, but then they were like one of the interpreters was like, you know how they make that, right? And I was like, well, no. And they're like, well, they all spit in there to create that like fermentation process. And I was like, I don't know if you're pulling my leg or not right now, but I gotta try it, right? So
so you went for it.
Oh yeah, why not? Yeah. So no, it's interesting. Like, they always want to give you something. There's local people that make meals for us while we're there, and we all get sick while we're there, but it's part of the process, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And it's super fun. I got a million stories of everything we've done, and it's cool.
It's a good life adventure,
Absolutely. And I think, I think that's in every human just a little bit. Like, I guess it's like this little seed in your heart, right? So you're like, every one of us, we all have that seed to want to help another human. And that probably when you start opening that seed up and realizing, oh my goodness, there's a lot here.
Oh, absolutely. And I couldn't agree more. And when I talk to people about this, I'm like, if you feel like you're in a rut, or if you feel like, life isn't going the way you want it to go, take a step back and start doing things for other people. And I can guarantee you your mindset changes. And now all of a sudden you look at life with optimism, and you look at like, you're shifting from self, woe, it's me, into, hey, I'm going to help this person today. And it makes you feel so damn good because you have that seed in you, right?
Yeah.
And also Nekky, like the people around you, you're so infectious. Like I'm sure you have all sorts of people that want to join you on your journey.
Well, I'm pretty fortunate to have a good team around me, and a cool part is in Lloydminster, like it's a small community, and to see all your patients come up to you, and even now they're like, I bet you miss not traveling now, and how can I help you? What are the kids doing down there? How can we support your water project? Even I don't talk about it with patients, like they all come up to me and they know what I'm doing, right? And so it's pretty cool to have that relationship with people that they know when they come see you, that part of everything you're doing is going right back to people a world away. So that's cool.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
Nekky, you talk about mindset. Is this along the same lines, or is there more on the mindset module, I guess? I don't like using that word module, but like the mindset component that is part of your world. Is there more to that you want to tell us about, or is this kind of the mindset part of it?
That's really my mindset. I know a lot of people, like mindset's a huge word right now, a huge buzzword, I guess. Growth mindset, fixed mindset, and it's all cool, and we all read the same books, and we should be in this growth mindset when we all have fixed mindset habits. But really wipe all that off the table and just start helping other people. I don't care what you're doing. If you want to buy a stranger a cup of coffee, that's cool. Like it will change your perspective on everything that you're doing. And instead of every day being monotonous, especially during COVID, every day is a new day to do something good for someone else. And so that's really what's gotten me through COVID, because I've had a tough time like being strapped in at home, because I hate being here. You know what I mean? I need to always be on the go, whether it's teaching or meeting new people or helping people wherever. Right. So that's what's kind of been getting me through.
Yeah. You're waking up every day going, who am I helping today? What am I doing? It's that like, I can feel it from you. You've got this, we can do it attitude. It's like Mark says, it's infectious. So if I worked with you every day, I'd be like, Nekky, what are we doing today?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Like this breeds like-minded people though. Cause true. I did an implant on a fella, and he has a podcast in Lloyd here, and it's a hockey podcast, and he's pretty popular. And he called me a week. Yeah. Sean Newman podcast. He's that popular dude, pretty nice, like super nice guy.
Love it.
And, he called me a week later, and he's like, hey, meet me at my office. And I was like, at like 10 o'clock at night. And I was like, okay. And he was like, you said something that really resonated with me. And then he was sharing about how his wife is a teacher, and how the funding for the food programs in our schools around our area have been cut. And so like our kids in our community aren't always getting the food that they need in school. And this just wrenched at my heart. And right there and then we're like, okay, we're going to raise $200,000 for our schools in our communities in 6 weeks.
Wow.
And it's just crazy. You start telling people about this, and they're like, I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of that. And it just, you start getting all these like-minded people, and then stuff gets done. Mm-hmm. And so exactly what you're saying, like we all have that seed in us, and sometimes we just need that opportunity to allow that seed to grow. Right. So yeah, absolutely, man. You guys, we're picking up what we're dropping down here. I love it.
Cool. It's definitely cool. We knew we wanted to have you on. We're like, these guys talk our language. So it's really cool.
Yeah. It's how we want to structure our company around charities. So,
and that exactly, it's about charity. It's about community. It's about building people around you. Right.
I fully agree. Absolutely.
And especially for you guys, I would say it's cool to be a part of someone else's success.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And because then you both grow together, right? And to have a hand in that, I think it speaks volumes, right? And so I think that's a really cool mindset for your company. That's awesome.
Thank you. And we also get to hear so many great stories. We get to meet so many amazing people, and no story is the same. You guys all have something really cool to tell us. You've got a lot of great stuff to tell us. And for us to be able to share in that story, because then we'll see you at the PDC, or we'll see you somewhere in the future. We'll be like, hey, let's get back on the show. Let's find out what you're doing now. Which is really cool, right?
Totally. Yeah. No, I missed PDC. I was shocked. So I gave a couple lectures at PDC right before COVID. Like that was like the week before COVID. I remember coming home, and they're like, you have to quarantine. We're like, what are you talking about? What's quarantining? And
we were all caught off guard on that one. For sure.
Yeah, we were. And like, I was so fortunate. Like I had like probably 500 people in my lecture hall, and they were all just like cram packed tight together. I'm like, and now looking back, you're like, oh, this is how anything can spread, whether, you're in a lecture hall or you're on an airplane or wherever. Right. So it's just crazy to think, how are we going to go right back to that?
I know.
It's going to be interesting, right?
I often think about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, how are you going to go to a concert with 20,000 people?
Yeah. You're at the concert and you're like,
yeah,
you can taste what the person's breathing through the rows behind you, right? Like,
totally, right?
Yeah, you're wearing a full like spacesuit, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah,
totally. Just bring your hockey helmet to the visor in there, right? Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
it'll be cool.
Well, I'll get through it though, right? We get there.
I'm excited for that day.
Yeah, we all are, aren't we?
So do you talk a little bit about building your practice as well? Like, are there like, you mentioned that you teach with Dr. Kwan and a few of those guys. Is there, you had mentioned building your practice component. Is that part of it as well?
So, yeah, like I have, in Lloyd, I always get jealous of all these other dentists, and I talk to them and I'm like, especially in out East, like you go to Ontario and they're like, yeah, I have 3 practices here, 3 practices there. And I'm like, how often are you working at these practices? And they're working 7 days a week and like evenings, weekends. I'm like, how do you guys do that? Like, don't you guys get burnt out?
Grinding.
And they're grinding hard, right? So I want to take a different approach. And instead of having, 3 or 5 different practices, I wanted to, put it all into one. So we grew our practice, my partner and I, from 7 ops to 12 ops to we're at 19 ops right now, and we're expanding right now. So we're going to have 23 ops, and it's been really cool. And the community's behind us, and we have such amazing support from our patients and our community. And we've just been able to build everything that everyone wants to be a part of. And I have to give it to my staff, because like we have the most amazing front end and hygiene. And I just feel so lucky that they want to, come work with us. And I learned so much from them as well. So it's cool.
How many staff do you have? That's a large practice.
Oh God, I want a 30 something, but
yeah, wow.
Yeah, no, we're really lucky. Like we don't really have turnover. It's been really good, but my part of the practice is more so sedation and third molar extractions or just extractions in general. And it almost transferred to this, like, I'm very envious of those dentists that do veneers and crowns. And like I said, I thought I was going to go into prosto, and now I just don't like it. Do you know what I mean? Like I find that there's different types of personalities that do well at different things. And you have these people that are amazing smile designers, and they know the occlusion. And I've taken all those courses. I've taken course. I've taken all those, and it just never clicked with me. Like I just never felt my passion in it. But then being able to get people out of pain and being able to look someone in their eyes and say, you know what, I'm going to take care of you today. And that bad experience you had that kept you away from the dentist 20 years ago, that's no longer. And to have that trust that people give me, that's what's allowed me to build my practice. And now I don't advertise at all. My advertising budget for my practice is 0. Everything goes right towards back in the community. How can I build up my community? What can I do for my community? And it's just word of mouth and patients. I've had patients drive 6 or 7 hours just to come see me, because I was the guy that took out their friend's tooth that was terrified for 20 years. And we can sedate them. We can just do it with normal local. But being able to build that connection and being able to build those relationships, really, that's what provides me passion within my profession.
Wow.
I would say, yeah.
I'm gonna come to you. I'm gonna drive. It'll be like 20 hours. I'll come see you.
15 hours.
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
I don't need any teeth out, but
that's okay. You never had braces. You don't have to worry about that.
There you go. Yeah.
Mark's competitive. He's like, drive 6 hours. I'm going to drive 15. I'll come.
That's right.
That's an amazing story, Nekky. That's so cool. Yeah. Congratulations on all your success. That's it's well deserved. And I know you're gonna give me some sort of humble answer, but you should be proud. You should be proud.
I like what an open book you are. I admire that. Like you shoot it. You're a straight shooter. You're like, look, here's me, right? Like, and that for me, I've been working on that part of myself for the last few years now, where I'm really trying to be, what do they call it? WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be WYSIWYG.
It's called WYSIWYG. If you've ever taken a computer programming course, this is like from 20 some odd years ago. Actually, it's where my wife and I met, believe it or not. So we met in this computer programming course at SFU, which was dreadful. It was such a terrible course. But I do remember, I think WYSIWYG was from high school, but WYSIWYG at the time was in computer programming is what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
And I always say that, I'm like, I just want to be WYSIWYG. And people are like, I was leaving like, what the heck's a WYSIWYG? I'm like, well, what you see is what you get. And that's, for me, I just try to say it how it is. And I see that with you, Nekky, where you're like, look, here's who I am. Here's my objective. I just want to get up. I want to help people. And, in dentistry, especially, that goes a long way, because like the trust, boom, it's immediately there. I know this guy. Like we've been like 2 minutes, like 30 seconds into this podcast. I'm like, oh, I trust this guy. I totally believe what he's saying. I know like what the message is that you're sending us. I'm like 100% know exactly where you're coming from. And yeah, it's very apparent. So congrats on that part of what you're doing.
Yeah. Authenticity goes a long ways.
Yeah, I don't know what to say to that, but no,
I go on tangents once in a while. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's I couldn't agree more. Like if you want someone to trust you, it's you have to share a part of your soul, and you have to share who you are, and if you have like hidden agendas, I think people can see through that stuff pretty darn quick.
Yeah.
And if you're focusing on the dollar, I think everyone can see through that even faster, right? So why can't we just share everything we have in terms of knowledge, especially with other dentists? Why do we have to keep secrets and these are my tips and tricks amongst colleagues or whatever? It's why can't we just give each other a leg up and be part of each other's success? So that's I don't know, my mindset around that.
I love it.
Things work better that way, don't they?
Oh goodness, yeah, man. And you go home like you feel like what, we did something today, right? Yeah. And to hear patients, like for me, I hate it. Like at the beginning of this conversation, like I don't like when patients call me Dr. Jamal, because like I don't want to feel a sense of superiority there. It's like Nekky, you took out my kid's wisdom teeth today and everything went great. I just have a question here. Like, what should I do here? And I get a text at 10 o'clock at night, whatever. Right. It's, we need to help each other. And I'm just blessed that people trust me to see their children, to take out their wisdom teeth, to, see their parents, to, put in a couple implants as locators or to see them and do some fillings or whatever it may be. It's cool.
Mm-hmm. And when you're available, right? Like when you say talking, when you talk about taking a text or something, like I have that relationship with my dentist where like, we did, I kept my wisdom teeth and we put like an all nail, one of them, I guess basically a crown, you know, and he's like, cause again, back in my junior hockey days, the 3 games I played in junior, I took a punch, right? What's that?
It's still part of it, man. I'd call you a junior hockey player.
It's part of the journey, right?
Yeah.
So I took a punch right here, and I remember feeling the fragments of this tooth hitting this side of the inside of my cheek.
Oh man!
I took this punch. So, but I kept, they put a big nasty ass filling on it, and then so I said to my dentist, I was like, hey, you know what? How does that wisdom tooth look back there? It's feeling pretty rough. And he's like, yeah. He's like, that thing is being held together by a string, man. Like you better figure something out. He's like, do you want me to get in there and take a look? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So, and it was right up against the bone. So he's got to get in there and put a crown on this thing. And like, he's just trying to wiggle it, get enough room to get this crown on. Right. Which it was a marathon. Luckily I'm a pretty chill patient, because it was like, that was a really hard thing for him to do. And my hat's off to him for getting it done. But the nice thing is that like the next day or two, I was like, man, oh man, I'm sure I'm really having some sensitivity here. And just being able to text him and be like, does this feel normal? And to have him respond back and say, out of 1 to 10, what are you feeling? I'm like, it's about a 6. He's like, okay, if it gets to a 7, let me know.
Yeah.
Right? Just that peace of mind of knowing like, okay, if I wake up in the middle of the night and it's like in screeching pain, I know I can text him and be like, hey man, this isn't going well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a really comforting feeling to know.
Just go get punched again.
I get punched on this side and then it'll
that's right. Take one on the other side.
You're back on screen. Why are you all hockey players so aggressive towards each other? Always punching each other, man.
Well, I was 20, so my aggression has toned down a little bit.
I love it.
It should just be hugs, right? Like,
should all just be hugs. No,
get into the corner and just hug it out.
Beer hockey now. Mark, you know how it is. Beer hockey now. We fall on each other in the corner and we just end up in a hug. Like
not on purpose.
Not on purpose. That's right.
Yeah, that's the one thing with COVID this year. I didn't have nearly as many hockey emergencies as there are normally, because it just wasn't happening, right?
It's not happening right now.
More people saved their teeth this year for sure. Less.
Yeah, there's been more hockey saves this year. And hey, another COVID positive.
Pandemic positive.
Another pandemic positive.
Nekky, this has been a great interview, man. Thank you so much for coming on with us.
No, I'm humbled to even be here. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna do this again for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. I want to keep tabs on your journey.
Yeah, we got to meet in person, and hopefully we can grab a beer and when everything, I guess, opens back up, and I'm looking forward to that day.
You had me at beer.
Oh, perfect.
That's right. You had both of us a beer.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, when we envision the next time we all get to see each other, the PDC, you can come by the Dentist on Demand booth, and then you'll be an honorary podcast guest.
Oh man, we'll have to do one there.
Yeah. That's our plan. We're gonna have a booth on the floor.
Yeah.
To do like podcast.
That's smart, man. Like no one's doing that right now.
Yeah.
We're now that we've said it, they're gonna copy us.
That's right. We're gonna cut this out of the podcast.
We'll cut it. I'll cut this out of right out. Yeah.
No, man. Lots of people can imitate, but no one can replicate, right?
Oh, I love that.
We've got a bit of a catalog of podcasts, so people will have some catch up to do for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, it's been an honor for real. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks, Nekky. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Do you have any big plans for the weekend before we let you go?
Oh goodness, I getting ready for next week's lectures and got to get working out again. This COVID-19 pounds on me, right? So you gotta shed it all.
A negative of the pandemic.
The negative. You just eat all day, right?
Yeah, just
eat all day. Yeah. Sit in the office. Yeah. So it's a shameless plug time. You're more than welcome to plug. Like, are you doing some teaching engagements? Is there anything that you want us to promote for you, like with courses? Yeah,
I like I said, I moved all my courses online. So I created, I would have to say, a badass third molar course if you want to, get into third molars. So we have a mentorship program, and I do Zoom calls almost every night with people across North America, cool. Helping them through their cases. And then we have a 16-hour CE course online. I made 200 videos, all clinical videos, to show you each and every step of the way of third molars. So I've been able to help a lot of people. And the coolest part is that all the proceeds from my course goes right back into water wells in Nicaragua. So it's that's been my way to kind of fundraise while we're stuck here, right? So it's been cool.
You're a smart man. That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool.
The name of my course is it's www.thirdmolarsonline.com.
Okay.
If I see it on social, I'll be sure to reshare it.
Yeah, I don't really, the one thing I'm really bad at is advertising, and I just don't.
Yeah.
And so I've grown it through word of mouth, and it's been cool because I get to meet people, and we have one-on-one Zoom calls, and we talk about everything but teeth. And so when it's time to get at it, it's been fun. I've met a lot of cool people.
Very cool. Well, we'll make sure we include the links and all the associated information with it. And any sort of information that we put out there on social media, we'll make sure that we give you a good plug.
Oh, for sure. Dude, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Always. You're doing great things. Keep doing it.
Thank you. Anything else?
No. That's all we got. Just go and enjoy your Friday.
Got a rhyme or anything, or a good joke?
No, man, not that funny.
We should hit him with our end of podcast.
Oh, of course, yes, Mark. Of course.
Mark, do you want to do the honors?
I'll do it.
Okay, go ahead.
Nekky, we ask everybody this question.
Okay.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
It's a hot dog. You better believe it is.
There you go.
Oh, we got one for the sandwich team.
Yeah,
absolutely. Meat between two pieces of bread. You got it.
There you're on Tyler's team.
No, he's not on my team. We don't see eye to eye on that.
Oh, you're not? Yeah. I thought you were the sandwich guy.
No, I said it wasn't because it didn't have a crust, but I don't know. Nekky's got me reconsidering my answer.
Well, especially if it's a Costco hot dog, because then it's a massive piece of meat in between bread. So it's good.
I either think of Costco or the Safeco Field down in Seattle's hot dogs.
Ooh, those are good too.
Yeah,
those are good. Man, you guys are so lucky in Vancouver. Can go down to Seattle when everything opens back up. That'd be awesome.
Oh, you know what? Now that you mention it, I do have my Mariners hat.
Oh, I see that. Yeah.
Canucks are up here, and then I've got Seahawks are up here. So I'm more of a Seahawks fan than a Mariners fan.
Nice. Last time I went to a Seahawks game, it was Seahawks against Cowboys, and Tony Romo was still playing.
Nice.
Wow.
And I love that. Did you guys go to the Seattle Mariners when they were playing the Blue Jays?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all just Canadians there.
It's a sea of blue.
Yeah.
It's funny because I go and I'm a Mariners. I'm a Mariners fan, so we go and I sit in the sea of Jays fans. 30 of them are my friends, and whenever the Mariners score, I stand up. I'm like the one guy in my section going, "Yeah!" And like all the Canadians are like, "Hey, you're from Canada. What are you doing?" I'm like, "No."
And it literally is like 9 out of 10. It's wearing a blue hat.
Well, and you see all the Mariners fans, they're all looking at the because the Jays fans, they get pretty rowdy down there. So all the Mariners fans are shaking their heads.
They hate it.
Totally, right?
Yeah. The Canadians are here. They're causing trouble.
It's not a hockey game, guys. It's not a hockey.
One guy said that. He was like, "Hey guys, this is baseball. Would you chill out?" Like.
So were you a Mariners fan ever since like the Ken Griffey Jr. days or prior?
Yeah. Well, Ken Griffey Jr. and then the Seahawks. I was Seahawks is interesting. Not to switch teams, but Ken Griffey was kind of what really got me into the Mariners back when I was
Absolutely. I think they got everyone into the Mariners because he was just so dominant, right?
He was so dominant. Yeah. And I never got to play baseball. Well, sorry, I never played baseball. I just never really took up the sport. I was a hockey kid. So for me, Ken Griffey was really the first time. And I was actually working in a sports store, believe it or not. I don't know why I say believe it or not. Just as ironic.
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it. You didn't work in a sports store. But I was working in a sports store, and I remember it was like springtime. I just got hired at the sports store, and Ken Griffey was all the rage. And then I started getting into the romance of baseball. I was like, wow, this is really cool. Like I can see myself really getting into baseball.
Yeah.
And then it was too late for me to get into it. So I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to sit from the sidelines. And this Griffey kid is doing some cool stuff. So
yeah. He had a really interesting like batting stance. That's what I remember when I was a kid watching him. Like he stood up very straight. Unorthodox, absolutely. No, that's cool.
Nekky, we've taken tons of your time. Thank you so much for being on the show. Have a great
Thank you, fellas. Thank you. We'll talk soon, I hope.
Thank you. We will talk soon.
All right, fellas. Okay, we'll see you guys later.
Till next time.
Take care.
Bye-bye. See you guys. Thank you.